Hello, everybody. This is Universal Truth of Mankind. I am Dave, your host. This is Future Forecast. So, this is where I try to bring world events more into a spiritual perspective. I know the first couple that I've done videos tend to elude this idea. That was not my intention to do that, but rather there were other things I had to make sure I put out there. But today I'm going to put out much more spiritual understanding what's taking place. Kabbalists and students of Kabbalah view the world much differently than the average person. Is it because we're special? No. Is it because we have a special endowment of perception in of ourselves? No. It's because we've learned to perceive the world differently, more from a spiritual perspective versus a physical perspective. You can watch videos on my Kabbalah 101 playlist where I talk about 99% of reality. That'll help you understand this a little better. I want to discuss a topic that is potentially controversial here, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm not sure if it's going to get me in trouble. And I really don't care. I'm at that point in my life where it's like, okay, you don't like me, so what? I'm not concerned about what other people's feelings are, but I'm trying to help everybody I possibly can. So, why? Why, for the last 4 years in particular, has there been such an emphasis on identity? Why is it so bad for an individual who's a female to remain a female, or someone who's a male to remain a male? I know me personally, when I meet and talk to people, I don't care whether they're male and females. I don't care if they're grown-ups or not. I don't care if they're elderly. I don't care what their beliefs are. In other words, I have messianic friends. I have Christian friends. I have Buddhist friends. I have atheist friends. I don't care. Doesn't mean anything to me. You have a right to be what you are. I know foreigners, and I'm talking about foreigners who came in a legitimate way into this country, not through a southern border, which is totally wrong. What is taking place down there, not only from a human condition purposes, in other words, taking care of these people, but also the illegalness of it. I don't care what color you are. You could be purple. I don't care. I don't care what culture you came from. I love experiencing cultures. I mean, it's like a social studies type of thing for me, is to see how people think in other cultures, how they think, what's their history, what are they trying. That's why I like bluegrass music. I love bluegrass music, and the early country music, because it was mainly started with people trying to share their experiences with others. And you can really, through the music, feel what they were thinking. And many times you can laugh at what they're sharing because you're like, yeah, life is that crazy sometimes. So I come to you as a human being towards human beings. That's it. But we have a woke culture now, cancel culture, which I think is an excellent word for it, that attempts to tell people, be whatever you want, which personally, I don't care. That's okay. Be whatever you want. But they took it a step further and said, I am what I am, and you better accept me. Whoa. I don't have to accept you. I don't have to accept your behavior. I don't have to agree with it. But they act as though you're going to kill them or they're going to kill you if you don't. That's bullying on their part. Not acceptable. Oh, yeah, they don't want to be bullied, but they don't mind bullying you. So what is actually happening here? From a spiritual perspective, what is actually happening? I mean, some people think they're Furbies, so they're an animal of some kind. Some people think, well, I'm a weightlifter. I'm a guy. I can't win in the men's event, so I'm going to become a woman. I identify as a woman. Give me a break. You're in an ego trip. You're trying to make yourself better than somebody else. That's all you're about. But what is actually happening here? Why are our leaders trying to push these agendas, trying to push policies that support this? And then anyone who doesn't agree with it is immediately a racist, a bigot, or whatever. Why are they pulling this stunt? Well, here it goes. Okay, I know it took a little while to get here, but here's the situation. The world right now is starting to vibrate, starting to raise up to a higher level, starting to grasp and entertain the idea of their higher soul, their higher existence. They're starting to learn they're not just a physical existence. They're also starting to realize they're a metaphysical existence, which is your mind. And they're also learning that, hey, we have a soul, a perfected soul up here that hasn't fully trickled down here, so we haven't been transformed. But people are starting to feel this. They're starting to see this. They're starting to go beyond the rational mind and starting to see that there is an intuitive spiritual mind up there that we need to connect to. They're starting to see the fallacies of the physicality of existence. They're starting to see that they're in control of their own lives the way they think. They're starting to see that the way you think is the way you act. The way you think is why you're doing what you're doing. Granted, sometimes you're forced into a situation. I understand, but the majority of our decision making and our actions, vast majority of them, are all up here first before they even become a physical action. Well, the people out there, the elite that are out there, are attempting to control us, but they can't control people who are becoming more frequencied, more higher thoughts, soul level, to climb up this ladder. They can't have that. It's like crabs in a bucket. If a crab tries to get out, the other crabs grab it and pull it back in. That's what they're trying to do. They're in this bucket, and they don't want anyone out of that bucket. Why? So they can control the people around them. So how do you do this? You try to keep everything down into the physical. They try to keep you occupied in the physical realm, in physical thought. Let's think about this for one moment. A lot of people don't understand the first 3 chapters of Genesis. The first chapter deals with spiritual events, not physical events. The second chapter is where the creator starts making the concept of male and female. Male and female, male up here, female down here, and then male here, female there, and so forth. It's creating dimensions. Now, you got to understand from a spiritual point of view, this may take a little longer. Somebody who understands that God is called a he, not because because it is a he. It's really a he, she. In other words, it's really both genders. But it means to give. And female means to receive. I think you can get the picture there. Male gives something, the female receives something, and it mixes with what it has, and next thing you know, you give birth to a child. So you give, you receive, the two of you now give birth to creation. In a sense, that's how God created creation. So now we had this idea of male and female, left and right as well. They're trying to make sure that they control us at the physical level. So they got to keep us from thinking about those things and keep us down, suppressed in our thoughts. So chapter 3 of Genesis is where the woman took of the fruit, ate it, realized that she was being beguiled by the serpent. We have to read these texts in a positive, not in a negative way. We read them in a negative perspective, then we're going to misunderstand what the passage is saying. We have to read scripture with positive eyes, not negative eyes. If you're reading positive eyes, God's like, okay, what happened here? This serpent here beguiled me. Okay. But I ate it. I didn't hand it to him. The serpent wanted to have that fruit. Wasn't handed to him. So man eat. Man didn't take responsibility for what he did. The woman did. And her name was changed to Kabbalah, which means life bearer. It's not a curse. That's a blessing. She was called a life bearer. Then we move into chapter 4 of Genesis. And what's taking place? Satan's trying to tempt Cain to kill Abel. How? Through the mind first, and then through action. There was no soul fight there. There was a mental fight and a physical fight. Pick up that stone. Hit him with it. Hit him real hard. Kill him with it. Nah. Then God warned him. You shouldn't be distraught. You should be really thinking this through. And finally, he couldn't anymore and killed Abel. So that's what we're in the middle of right now. The mind, control the mind, you control the body. Even Stalin said that if he can get the children at a young age, then he's got them for a lifetime because he can teach them the way he wants. That's why we have issues with the EA, education associations, at every level. They're trying to create a child to their liking, not yours. Is that right? Is that good? I think we can argue it back and forth about that. But they're trying to control the mind. It used to be citizen first, then the government. They turn into government first, and a citizen have to comply. It's all reversed. So that's what's happening. That's why they're pushing out these chaotic and stupid things. This is why they're permitting abortion after birth, which is not an abortion. That's murder. That's why it's up to the people, up to the states to decide how they want to handle this, not the federal government. Let the people decide what they want to do. They don't want that. They want centralized control and power. That way they can control you and lessen the population. And by lessening the population, they think they have greater control over the population. The reality is that's not true. That's what they think. There's a lot of reasons why that's just simply not so. So that's the reason for all of these situations that we're running to right now. I hope this helps you to keep yourself elevated and try to put 99% of your attention up here versus in the physicality. Take care, everybody. Shalom, shalom.